And what we've got here is our power pad spacer, but there's just way too much flex. So when these pads press, it just flexes too much. My old front bumper down the bottom, 13mm, just happens to slot in here. So if I push that there and then I try and press here, the flex is a lot less. So that's what I really like, building something, playing with it, seeing what the issues are. The other cool thing is there's a lot of change around here, and I think this handle should be built into this and come out here and follow the same design principle. That honeycomb.
We are building our extension stanchions at 497. That's giving us an extra 40mm. 40% extra. Stock 457, 497 is a 40mm increment to give us 100mm travel. About that much. It's not much on here, but it makes a big difference. Got our tube on our stand with our drill piece. Slide this in. It'll rotate, but it has enough that I can grip it. So I can see it's high here and it's low here. In the yard, just finished up sanding the battle. Planning is I just got to grind down the very nibs of these bolts, because on my unit these things are crushed and they did have a washer in them, and these bolts were bottoming out on the motor and I wasn't able to get them tight to hold it tight, and they'd rattle loose, and I don't use Loctite, so just grinding them down a bit resolves that issue for me. Our special front bumper system that just slides straight off. This thing is indestructible, TPU made. Soft but hard at the same time. Easy install. At the same time, we've just got our riser plate. To keep the lower center of gravity, we've got the 40 option, but we also got the 20 option, so we can have a 20 at the top and a 20 at the bottom. Possibilities. I've done about 2,000, just under 1,500 Ks on this machine now. Just looking at how I cut this off, there's clearly no cable rubbing, so that's running really nice. As well as I do have my additional bolt that runs through, so this thing is very rigid. Supported here, supported these two bolts, and the additional one at the front. Things are a lot cleaner on this bolt. I've just grinded it down, so when the cable sits against it, it'll be less likely to puncture into it. And can we see any teeth marks? It wasn't right there is where it was sitting. You can just see the thread. I wouldn't call that an issue at all. We have taken out the pole and we've got our new pole that we're test fitting, and what we've noticed is stock bushings. These are my old T4 bushings, and we can see that there is a different number of graphite, as well at the same time the inside outside diameter, they are extremely similar. The master bushings have more dots. So on the left here we've got the master bushing, and then the old T4 bushing. Master has more dots. They are the same height almost. The internal widths are what we vary a fair bit on. They are oblong, 29.8 for the T4. This is not a good test. This is a failed test. 20, yeah, whatever. These are smaller and tighter, and these are looser. Got our bushing here, and we've got it sliding on the pole now. And then we've got our other bushing, and I can't get that on. It just doesn't fit. Ow! Got a splinter. So we've got our special jig here. Got some 80 grit sandpaper that we put the bushing on, and the clamp to hold the trigger. So let's give this a boost. And we just rotate the bushing. When this comes down on the wheel, it gets mighty close to that tire, like this, and the last thing we want it to do is cut in. Doing here is we're going to cut off the bottom edges across here and this edge here of the pedal hanger bracket. Just cut complete on both sides. Got a nice chamfer. Now to get the nice tool on it. We have before and after. That does give you a little bit of peace of mind. Whoa. So this is interesting. That just gives me more confidence. Now I absolutely feel I can go lower. My blunt drill bits, and we've just tapped our first thread hole for the twist limitation. That was hard work. 3mm stainless steel, don't recommend. Shims I've opted to go for are these copper ones. I stack two together and I drop them in on the inside, and then I insert the tube, and they definitely both sit on the inside over here, and that seems to give me the best result. Let me show you what it looks like after I've installed it. What type of spacing have I allowed for? We've got the rubber bushing here, and this is about 5mm, and then down the bottom here between these two, when we're in our fully expanded, including the rubber bushing, that's 105, and then plus the 5 up here is 110. But actual life travel is only this much, which is exactly 100. And the space tolerance that we have from our pedal hanger to our rim and our tire is on a bottom out. The tire is going to expand wide, and I'm right at the limit, but I don't expect to bottom out at all. I think that's a compromise we've got to live with, which works out to be, instead of a 40mm riser plate, it's actually 30. I got a major issue that I'm trying to decipher. It was going to be 40mm high, but that's out of the question. Now it's 30mm. Do I add 30 at the top? Do I add 30 at the bottom? Or do I split it 50-50? I've got 12 here at the bottom. I've got 0 here at the bottom. I've got 28 here at the top. No, 18 here at the top. Plus 12 at the bottom, which makes 30. So I could put a 30 on the back and 0 down here, and I can put the 12 here, and I can put the 30 over here and a 0 up here, which would be good because my handles mount to this part of the battery, which has to be in line with here for it to be the correct height. So here's my handle setup on how it mounts, and it has to be to the top of the battery. Otherwise, the alignments on how it sits is different. I have to build in my risers built into these grey plates that run along here because they extend off here, and I don't want to double stack it to make my batteries 6mm wider as opposed to 3. So what is my best option? The battery is even heights. Do I pull this down and redesign the handle, or do I go 0 and 30, 30 and 0? So many choices. Without the use of an extension down the bottom and a full 30mm plate at the top, the power cable does fit, but it's a little tight, but that'll absolutely fit. I think if I add the same as this, a small plate to make them symmetrical, I won't need any cable mods. For this crash bar handle system, I've had to make a few changes. These parts here are going to be aluminium. Because my batteries have a riser, I need a block at the top and bottom. These blocks can be separated, so they're just a separate block, as well as I've got these battery spacers for the rear. So these things are going at the front of the machine, and these ones here are going at the rear. And again, these can be a 3mm aluminium block with the plastic block underneath for the screws to bind into. And we're just going to be installing the 18mm one here up at the top. We can see the lower block, which is just a small block, and at the top we can see the upper block, and we can just see that underneath. That's the inside of the block right there, the 2 screws are coming out. Nice. And then we've got our front block, and that is blocked like that, as well as like that. Yeah, it's not bad. Let's get the handle on here and get our pole back in. This is our old handle system setup that would clip over, but now we're accommodating for the longer bar. I need to replace the inner bar here, which is the one that is here. So I've got to undo all this and slide it in. To do that, we've just got to remove a few screws, and then we can pull that piece out and make it all fall and drop it on the machine. Let's get an overview of what we've done here. We've got our 12mm spacer plates at the bottom to bring the batteries up. At the top, we've got our 18mm riser plates. Our battery cables are using the standard length and they are not overstretched. There's plenty of space for them. The back ones are the tightest. We're using our stock standard light with my bumper system and battery bash guards. The other side looks the same. We have brushed up the pedal hangers for the lowest position, and we are featuring 100mm of travel, 105 with the bushing, 110 when we allow for the other rubber bushing that's down in here. So that's 30mm on top of the stock standard. And we have lots more to do because a lot of this doesn't fit. Come back next time. As I went with 3mm stanchions, these do not fit in because they're too chunk. I should have gone for the 2mm. Extensive front bumper system. We have, so we've got the same bumper systems on both the Master and the T4, and these things are highly durable. With a face plant, no problem face planting. Let's have a look at this material. Oh, that was not good. Perfect, mint condition, don't worry about that. I think I just broke the rear. Something went crack then. This is the prototype and not designed for a fall like that. And we are hitting on this first, so I didn't like that sound.